Yes, indeed. It's Deshaun Watson, and Deshaun Watson, the expectations we have for him in this game, plus in this final preseason game, plus he had some interesting comments today. Are we going to play that first?
Yeah, we'll start with the comments. This Hayden Grove tweeted out, and I'll read it word for word for you. Take tag word full.
Yeah.
Shout out to Anthony, who's using his phone's hotspot on his iPad to get these
Nice.
up. That's how much the dedication we have behind the glass here. Deshaun Watson was asked about preseason quarterback rankings, and he responded, quote, "I missed 2 years of football, so I shouldn't be in those rankings, to be honest." Continues, "I got to go out there and prove and just show what I got to do to get back in those conversations."
The question was, does he feel
Is he
slighted
insulted or disrespected by not being
that he's not
in those
being
top
listed
tiers?
wherever he's being listed? What was the question? Top 10 specifically, or
Top 10, yes.
that he's not being listed in the top 10? And his answer is correct. I mean, I like that answer by him.
Love that answer.
Yeah.
Love it. Remember, last week it was people were thinking he had a little bit of rabbit ears when he was talking about interceptions that he was throwing during the practice. But this shows me a level of growth. This shows me a level of being real and honest with it. And I like when people are honest and real about the situation. He has the right mindset. Hey, look, at one point in time going into this game, Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson were mentioned in the same breath. Now it's not even a thing that people talk about. And he's saying, rightfully so. I missed 2 years of football. I got to go out and put some real plays on tape before I can even start talking about that. I love his attitude right here.
And on your podcast yesterday, Earl said it was cap, right?
Yeah, Earl called cap on Watson, and Earl is upstairs, so I would love to turn the camera and have him explain exactly what he said, but I'll paraphrase for you. He goes, I like Deshaun saying that, but I don't think that's how he actually feels. I think that Deshaun Watson believes he's in there, but he's kind of just playing the safe route because if he gives the media any more fodder, they'll just run with it.
What do you think of that, Jason? Do you think that
mix it up.
Earl is right that Watson believes he's a top 10 quarterback, but he just said what people wanted to hear? Which wouldn't be a bad thing.
All these guys, to get to the level that they are, I think they're top 10. Whether they are or not, they always think they're in the top 10 or top 5 even of what they do. But I also think that Deshaun needs some motivation he's seeking motivation for himself. We've talked about that before with guys who play at a high level and will just create something if they have to in order to motivate themselves. And I think he's looking at this. I think can both be true because I think he does feel like he's top 10. But I also do believe him when he says he's got something to prove because he does. He was trash for those 6 weeks. And that's all we have to go on over the last 2 years. So I do think in his head he feels like he's got something to prove, and he does. He does have to come out and prove that he is that guy again. So I think both can be true. I think he absolutely in his heart feels like he's still that guy, but he's also smart enough to know that he's got to prove it.
That's 100% true. You could pay attention to rankings or whatever. It's one person's opinion. But it makes no sense at this moment in time if you're ranking the best quarterbacks in football. Why would anybody put Deshaun Watson in the top 10?
And he'd look foolish if he came out.
He'd
look foolish if he came out and said, "I belong in the top whatever." Like, that's crazy.
You don't get there because 3 years ago you were great. 3 years ago he was in the top 10.
Right.
But for 2 years he's not even on the list.
Right.
So last year wasn't in the top 30.
Yeah.
Now we all may think he's going to be in the top 10 this year, certainly on the back end of it, if nothing else. And he certainly has the talent to get there again, but he hasn't done anything for 2 years. So I thought that was the right attitude. I think you make a good point. He probably thinks down deep, yes, I'm
as good as I've ever been.
I'm as good as anybody.
Yeah.
I can do this.
Is this more of a undersell, over-deliver thing? You think he's like, look, I'm just going to be modest with it, come out, say, hey, I got to prove it. But in his back of his mind, he's like, I know what I can do. I can over-deliver that.
Yeah, sure. And let's face it. I mean, outside of Cleveland, the expectations for Deshaun Watson are not that high. I mean, you watch some national stuff, and some people are mentioning the Browns and thinking they might be a playoff team, talking about the talent they have. Nobody's going bonkers over Deshaun Watson right now.
No.
Because you don't know what to expect.
Right.
As good as he was, it's been 2 years since he's been that player. So it's easy to say, well, he's going to just be that player again. Why not? He's young. And I think that way. But it's not 100% certainty until we see it. So I don't think the expectations are that high around the league for Deshaun Watson. Especially because there's a lot of people around the league, or at least fans, that want him to fail.
Yes.
So they're not going to have high expectations.
So do you believe, like nationally,
Yeah.
there's not very, because every time I turn it on, they say there's a question mark. They don't know what to say, how to move with it. Do you think nationally there's no expectations for them?
I think from some people. I mean, you can't group every national media member together. I've seen some, like I look at all these lists just to see, because if it could be fodder for the show or whatever. SI puts out one. And I've seen some of these lists where like, I saw something, I don't even remember where, I've seen so many, I don't even remember where it was. But the other day I was like, there was somebody who was like making 10 bold predictions. And one of his predictions was that the Browns win the AFC North and Deshaun Watson is an MVP candidate. Whether I know we all don't think he's going to win an MVP,
right.
but he thinks he's going to be an MVP candidate. But by and large, I think most people nationally are on hold with Deshaun. They're like, I think he's going to be good again, but I'm not sure. So let's see what he is. But I don't know if you're just making the list of the 10 best quarterbacks right now in football. You just can't put him on the list at the moment. At the moment. For whatever it's worth, I'll say in fantasy drafts, he's kind of being, not that fantasy means everything, but there's some correlation to the NFL. He's mostly going as like the 8th to 10th quarterback in fantasy drafts.
And I know you guys had Mike Sando on when I was in Europe, but Mike Sando does his annual QB tiers, and that's based on the votes from 50 people within the NFL,
coaches.
Executives, player personnel, coaches, etc. And Deshaun Watson was the last player in tier 2. And I think that was quarterback 8 or 9 in totality.
I think it was a little lower than that.
I'll double check, but it was in that 8 to 12
he was the back of tier 2. I think it was like 12 though. I think the back of tier 2 was 12, but I could be
Let me double
wrong.
check. Hold on.
Yeah, and that's solely based on what you saw the first 3 years.
Right. Let me ask y'all this. I know this is inexact science, but what is the bare minimum of the old Deshaun Watson that that the Browns have to have this year for them to make the playoffs? So say, for instance, you say, is 85% of Deshaun Watson's best year good enough for them to make the playoffs?
Yeah.
But he could be the player he was in Houston, and it's possible they could still miss the playoffs. That's how good the AFC is.
Yeah.
It's possible. I'm not saying if he's the player who was in Houston, they almost definitely make the playoffs. But because the AFC is so loaded, I don't think it's a sure thing. It depends how good the rest of the team turns out to be. We think it's going to be really good, but maybe Deshaun Watson ends up being great, and maybe the wide receivers aren't as good as we thought, or the defense is not quite as good.
There's always the injury wild card with all of these teams.
What was that? He was 11. So Watson was 11 on that list. So according to executives around the league and player personnel and coaches, he's still on that borderline of top 10, even though he's done nothing for 2 years. That's how talented people think he is. The fact any other quarterback that had the track record that he's had the last 2 years wouldn't even be talked about.
Tier 4, Tier 5.
He's still 11, even though the only thing he's done for 2 years is either not play or play like crap.
Right.
That's pretty amazing.
I mean, look at Baker. 2 bad years. Look where he is.
Exactly.
He was Tier 5.
Yeah, so he's basically off the list.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I'm looking at it, and I'm trying to compare him to, because it's been so long since we saw what he was at his peak. I had to go back and just look at highlights and try to figure all right, let me go back and look. It's been so long since you've been playing like this. And I'm trying to think, where would I put him amongst AFC quarterbacks if you're looking at it? If he's 100% of Watson what he was when he left, is that 100% better than Herbert? Is that 100% Allen?
Before you guys answer, is this take 2020 Deshaun Watson and place him in today's Cleveland Browns offense?
Yes.
Assuming he's not getting any better than 2020. Just so we're all on the same page.
That's a
2020 Watson in today's offense. It's a great question. Bull, Jason, what do you think?
I mean, it's right there. It'd be hard to differentiate between Burrow, Watson, Allen, and Herbert behind Mahomes if you had the 2020 Watson. So he'd be in the neck and neck for 2.
Mahomes is still number 1.
I would still say Burrow 2, and then I'd say Watson 3, and then Allen, and then Herbert for me.
Yeah. I'd still put Allen ahead of him, I think, but I really soured on Josh last year a little bit. This is a big year for him. I mean, obviously we haven't spent a lot of time talking about it. This is a big year in Buffalo and Josh Allen. But Deshaun, I mean, if Deshaun comes out and plays like he did in Houston in 2020, I'll put him in the top 5 easy with no hesitation whatsoever. And the Browns are going to go on a deep run.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Yeah,
I agree with all you guys there. I think Mahomes is still in a category of his own, and it's going to be really hard to unseat him. But he's right in that conversation. And I think Herbert is a step below those guys.
For me,
I don't
agree with you. I don't think Herbert's a step below. For me, and you'll argue I'm biased, it's fine. To me, Burrow has intangibles and
I'd agree with you
a
on this.
level of leadership and just football savvy that puts him ahead of those other guys by a little bit.
If we had to rank, and G, I'm going to ask you this question next. 2020 Watson, and I was in Texas when that happened. I watched a lot of Deshaun Watson in 2020.
The team around him was trash.
The team around him was terrible.
Yeah.
Their record was 4-12. Wins and losses is not just a quarterback stat. I hate when people say that's just a quarterback stat.
Right.
I would go Mahomes, Burrow, Watson, Allen, and then Herbert 5. And the reason I put him over Josh Allen is Josh Allen has that tiny bit of like, F it, I'm going to make a play, and it leads to a turnover that scares the crap out of me. It also leads to some magical plays, and Deshaun Watson has a little bit of that in him, but I think Deshaun's just a little more careful, protecting his body, a little less scary to watch on a regular basis when he's running around.
And ultimately, I agree with that list. That would be my exact order,
That was my exact order right there.
I'd flip Deshaun and Josh.
Deshaun and Josh Allen. Ultimately, whether you put him 2, 3, 4, or 5, doesn't really matter. Right. If he's in that group, that's good.
Yeah.
So let's look forward to Saturday then.
Yeah.
So they play the Chiefs. We've seen Deshaun throw 3 passes this preseason. That's it.
That's kind of crazy, ain't it?
It is.
It is.
Considering how little he's played the last 2 years.
Cincinnati is now 17 days away.
Yeah.
What do you guys want to see from Deshaun on Saturday going up against the Kansas City-led Patrick Mahomes offense to make you feel that when week 1 comes, and the answer could be nothing. Nothing will. I know, Bull, you're a preseason lover, so maybe nothing will change here. But what do you want to see from Deshaun on Saturday to make you feel like, you know what, when Cincinnati rolls around, when kickoff comes for week 1, our guy is 100% ready? And, Bull, you go last because you're going to say, I don't care.
Okay,
So, Jason,
I wasn't going to say I don't care. Go ahead.
I am kind of in the nothing camp. Now, it's if he throws 2 interceptions Saturday, I think it's like Cade York missing a couple kicks.
It's going to be panic time.
It's going to be panic.
Yeah.
If on the flip side, if he engineers 2 touchdown drives, I'm not going to get overly excited about it. I feel like it can only be, I hate to say it, but it can only be negative that come out of it. You know what I mean? I don't know that he's going to do, if he engineers 2 touchdown drives, everyone's going to feel good about it. And they should. But I don't know that anyone realistically can declare Deshaun Watson's back and he's going to have the 2020 season we were just talking about. You know, I just don't know that anything really can come of Saturday that makes you think that can wash away everything that we've seen to tell you that he's back. Now, if he plays poorly, and I'd say the same thing with Cade York. If Cade York makes 2 kicks Saturday, are you going to be thrilled with it? Are you going to feel like Cade York is back? No.
Right.
But if he misses 2 more, the panic is going to be
off
the chart. And I kind of feel the same way about Deshaun as I do with Cade York right now.
I think I would agree with you if it wasn't who they were playing. Now, this is the way people look at it. They just, inside, they feel this way, right? So you're going against Patrick Mahomes, and the natural thought process is that I'm going against Mahomes, I got to look like Mahomes, or at least look like I'm in the league with Mahomes.
Right.
And if you could come out and leave some touchdown drives, even if it's points on the board, I'd even feel good if they got down to the 40 and they had to kick a field goal. And Cade York made it at Arrowhead. I would be happy and excited. But I want to see just crispness. I want to see a command. I really don't necessarily want to see scrambles. I want to see the balls thrown downfield. I want to see him on target with his receivers. I want to see guys catching the football, no holding penalties, no motion penalties, false starts, all that good stuff. I just wanted to be crisp, get some points on the board. And it's not so much for whether or not that means anything going into the regular season for him. At the end of the day, I think it means a lot to his teammates, because his teammates want to see it. His teammates will rally around that, because I was just watching Hard Knocks with the Jets and how everybody for the Jets is waxing poetic about Aaron Rodgers. He's that guy.
Yeah.
So, for the guys in the locker room, it does mean a little something, because they want to see him get back to it, and then that's the first confirmation. What better way to do it against a guy who know is to go at this point in time right now against the Chiefs?
I just want to see him look like, show control of the offense, the command of the offense, leadership, and just like you said, smooth, just looking like how many times have we watched the Browns for the past, well, for you a lot longer, but like let's just say the last decade, their offense often just looked like crap.
Yeah,
right? It never looked like an NFL offense. Oh, not never, but very rarely.
Very rarely.
I want to see an offense where I'm like, that's it.
This is the 4 o'clock
This is
game.
it, right?
This
right.
is the 4 o'clock game right here. I see
Yes.
it.
Now let me ask you guys a crazy question. Maybe this is insane. Maybe you think this is the stupidest question ever, but I'm curious. It's 5 p.m. Sunday after the Bengals game. I'm going to give you 2 scenarios that took place in that game, and you tell me. Think about it, because the question's going to sound crazy, but think about. Try to imagine yourself in that spot. Bengals-Browns just ended, and how are you feeling? This is what happened. Scenario 1. The Bengals win 38-35. Deshaun Watson throws for 376 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no picks. But he gets outslugged. No defense game. Scenario 2. Watson's a disaster. He has no touchdowns, 2 picks, inaccurate, throws for 175 yards. But Joe Burrow didn't play, and Trevor Siemian started, and he's so bad that the Browns pulled one out 10-7.
Let's give it 13-6, just to make it a little
13-6.
13-6. That's a Trevor Siemian score.
What do you feel? How do you now? Obviously, part of you, it's like won the game. Who cares? But if you're thinking big picture, and if depending on how nervous you are about Watson bouncing back, what do you think? What actually would make you feel better at the end of that first game?
The win and Watson playing poorly because there's 16 more games to go. And a lot of guys the first week, we've talked about it before with with minimal time in the preseasons. A lot of guys don't look their best in week 1. I think we would give them a pass. Say it's week 1.
Yeah.
Long layoff, all that stuff still applies.
Yeah.
Hey, they won the game. That's all that matters.
They found a way.
They found a way to win the game. That's what good teams do. They find a way to win the game. I think you would take that over him playing well and losing.
Bush, it's a tough one, huh?
Because you still got 16 to go. You got 16
All right,
more.
but it's not a terrible question, though.
It's not a terrible
question. I want to go last on this one.
Okay.
It's a divisional
You're
opponent.
You're struggling with it right now.
It's a divisional opponent. You got to get that win, man. No matter what.
That's a damn good question because, he's right, man. You're supposed to get that. I don't care how you do it. Just go get the win. But that would be a letdown and a half. You threw 2 picks, Trevor Siemian. You was at home. Like, people would be scratching their head. And then if you come out, you just got to outdo it, right? I'm gonna go with this win, but for a different reason. I'll go with that win over the Bengals because if you won 13-6 and they got 2 field goals, that means the Browns defense was just lights out. And I think the Browns defense will be lights out. And then I could rationalize to myself, lie to myself about, look, he didn't play the preseason. I probably would get on the internet and rail on him about not playing in the preseason. Yeah. And Stefanski does it again. But I wouldn't lie in the back of my mind. I would be like,
you'd be scared.
I'd be scared as hell because you got to understand. You're not going to win many games in the NFL like that.
Yeah. you know what's interesting, before we go to you, Mike, for your opinion, in a way, obviously you'd be happier that they won, but you'd be more excited and optimistic going into week 2 if they lost the way I said in scenario 1, I think.
Because you would chalk the Monday night win.
You'd be screaming about the defense.
You could say, well, the defense is a lot of new guys. It takes time to gel. Go ahead, Mike. What would you say?
You guys know I love you. Jason, you're a friend. G, you're a brother. Bull, you're my main host. You guys are my guys.
Why don't I get to be a brother?
So you're actually excluded from this.
I'm insulted that I'm not a brother.
You're my Jewish brethren.
All right, good.
Deeper than brotherhood. But you didn't answer, so you're excluded from this.
Yeah.
You guys are wrong. If we have said for the last 2 months, there are no excuses for Deshaun Watson. Zero. Zilch. Yeah. Zero more excuses. Deshaun Watson has said there are no excuses. And if he comes out in week 1 and can barely beat Trevor Siemian, I don't give a damn about the result of the game. I'm feeling like absolute dog crap heading into week 2 against Pittsburgh, week 4 against Baltimore, and week 5 against San Francisco. I'll take a loss if I know Deshaun Watson's back. Because guess what? Yeah. Joe Burrow's a damn good quarterback in his own right, but I know I got one of the guys who can go toe-to-toe with anyone in the league. And I'd feel way better after a week 1 loss if it was 38-35 or whatever score you said, knowing that Deshaun Watson's the guy that we thought he was. He was in 2020, the guy we gave the contract to, the guy we traded 3 first-round picks for, the guy that's going to be the future leader of this franchise and lead the Cleveland Browns, hopefully on a deep playoff runs and a Super Bowl run. I feel way better knowing we got the guy who we paid for than anything else, regardless of the result.
I'm with Mike. I would also feel better about the Browns, even though it's a loss, and even though every win is precious in the NFL.
You all are crazy.
I get it. It is a little crazy.
This team has won the opener, twice in 23 years?
You know what, though?
And you want a loss to Deshaun to look good?
I'm right.
You want a loss.
We're right.
If the Browns are going to be good this year, it's going to be because Deshaun Watson is back to being great.
Absolutely.
And if he's great in week 1.
Doesn't mean he's going to be great 2 through 17.
That's true.
Yep. I'm going to take
but
the win.
If he plays great in week 1, I'm going to say he's back. There's every reason to believe he's back because he's been great for 3 years in his career.
So you lose 38-35 in week 1, and he balls out. He goes to Pittsburgh week 2, throws 4 picks. Now you're 0-2.
The question wasn't how am I going to feel on September 18th. The question was at 5 o'clock on September 10th. How am I going to feel?
In the AFC, where
Put a poll up on that.
In the
don't have
AFC.
What? Oh, we don't have internet. Can Earl do that or no?
Earl, who will hear this in 30 seconds, on a 30-second delay upstairs.
Earl, put up a poll on
Put up a poll and then send me the text, and at some point we'll read you those results.
In the AFC, where the playoff picture is going to be so
Bengals
tight,
started 0-2 last year.
Every win matters.
Jason Bengals started 0-2 last year.
In the divisional, these ain't the Bengals, man. Like you need every win. You win the game.
How confident are fans? Beating
game.
Trevor Siemian?
It doesn't matter. It's a win.
What was the numbers again, Bull? Let me see.
Deshaun, 375
he's coming to our
yards,
side.
4
He's
touchdowns,
coming to our
no
side.
picks.
But
Burrow beats him at the gun.
You guys are nuts.
when we won, what was the numbers?
He had 170 yards,
and 2 picks.
no touchdowns, 2 picks.
Oh my God!
You guys are crazy.
Obviously, these are extremes.
That 170.
Odds are he's going to play somewhere in between those two.
Woo, that 170 and 2 picks is tough to swallow. I'll give you credit for that one.
Yeah,
I give you that question is
coming around.
Oh my goodness! But you could always sleep on it, and you could say, look, we got to win. We're gonna go back to the drawing board, figure it out, and we'll figure it. Well, here's the thing too. I'll throw this caveat in there.
Yeah.
If Nick Chubb has like 140 yards in that game,
Yeah.
whatever, I'll take it.
All right.
If Chubb had 140, I was like, well, it was a Chubb game. That's what it was.